Every day, we wake up with two choices: live with intention or be pulled by impulse. Most people choose the second, not because they're weak or foolish, but because they've been conditioned to. Conditioned to follow comfort, conditioned to avoid silence, conditioned to avoid pain and pursue pleasure, even if it ruins their life. Stoicism isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending to be unbothered. It's about living a deliberate life. It's about freeing yourself from the slavery of destructive habits. Epictetus, a former slave-turned-philosopher, once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself. The question is, are you?" In this essay, we'll expose 14 habits that are not just slowing you down, but quietly killing your potential. They are enemies disguised as friends. Comforts that decay your spirit, addictions that rot your mind. But here's the good news: you can quit them. And when you do, you'll notice something surprising. Life gets quieter, stronger, simpler. Stoic, let's begin. Quit trying to control everything. The more control you try to exert over the world, the less peace you'll have. That's the irony of control. The tighter you grip, the more things slip through your fingers. A Stoic knows you cannot control people, you cannot control outcomes, you cannot even control your own body sometimes. But what you can control, your mind, your response, your attitude, makes all the difference. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius ruled over millions, led armies, and held the highest authority in the world. Yet in his personal journal Meditations, he wrote again and again, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Trying to control everything is a symptom of fear of failure, fear of uncertainty. But Stoicism teaches us to embrace the unknown, to show up prepared and let go of the rest. Quit micromanaging people, quit obsessing over outcomes, focus instead on effort, virtue, and presence. Control what's yours to control and surrender the rest. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Quit complaining. Complaining feels good in the moment, but every complaint is a rehearsal of helplessness. It teaches your mind to look outward instead of inward, to blame instead of build, to identify as a victim rather than take responsibility. A Stoic doesn't pretend life is perfect, they acknowledge adversity, then act. Complaining does nothing but drain the soul and distract from the solution. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." When you complain about the rain, the traffic, your job, your family, you're not changing the world. You're only reinforcing the idea that you're powerless, that you're at the mercy of life. But you're not. You're capable of rising above, of responding instead of reacting, of finding calm in the middle of the storm. Replace complaints with action. Replace grumbling with gratitude. Life becomes much simpler when you quit trying to make it easier and start becoming stronger. Quit living for validation. The Stoics believe that needing applause is a form of slavery, and today we live in the age of applause. Social media, attention-seeking, oversharing, these are all modern versions of a very old habit, needing other people to tell you you're enough. But you are already enough. You just haven't realized it because your worth has been outsourced. It lives in likes, praise, comments, recognition. None of that is real. None of that lasts. Marcus Aurelius warned, "Ambition means tying your well-being to what other people say or do. Sanity means tying it to your own actions." Quit the addiction to validation, not because you shouldn't be appreciated, but because you should be unshakable. Your sense of self must be rooted in who you are, not how you're perceived. Detach from the crowd, not with arrogance, but with self-respect. Learn to impress yourself. That's the Stoic way. Quit avoiding discomfort. Discomfort is the path. Comfort is the cage. Most people live their entire lives trying to avoid discomfort. They dodge hard conversations, skip the gym, binge food, scroll endlessly, and lie to themselves, all because discomfort is painful. But the Stoics believe the opposite. Pain is the teacher. Discomfort is the gym where the soul trains. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." What you fear is rarely the real problem. It's the avoidance of fear that destroys you. When you constantly seek ease, you weaken your will. When you lean into discomfort with purpose, you strengthen your spirit. There's no growth in comfort, there's only stagnation. The Stoic man or woman voluntarily embraces discomfort to sharpen their mind, develop courage, and build endurance. Get uncomfortable on purpose. Take cold showers, lift heavy things, say what you need to say, face what you're avoiding. If you want inner peace, quit living like comfort is your God. Choose growth instead. Quit wasting time. Time is your most precious possession. Every second you waste is a second you'll never get back. But most people treat time like it's unlimited until it's gone. The Stoics were obsessed with time, not in a fearful way, but in a deeply reverent way. They knew that each day could be their last. They treated time like sacred currency. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Think about your last week. How much time did you waste? How much time did you give to meaningless scrolling, gossip, worry, regret, or overthinking? That's not harmless, that's theft. You're stealing from your future self. The Stoic lives intentionally. They protect their time. They say no often. They focus deeply. They rise early. They plan their days. Time is not just money, it's life. Quit wasting it on things that don't build you. Quit acting like tomorrow is guaranteed. It's not. The clock is ticking. Make it count. Perfectionism is fear in disguise. It's a fancy way of saying I'm afraid to be seen as human. The Stoics didn't believe in perfection. They believed in progress, constant effort, honest self-reflection. They knew that flaws were part of the human experience. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, admitted his flaws daily in his journal, not to shame himself, but to grow. You don't need to be perfect to be worthy. You don't need to have everything figured out. What matters is that you're moving, trying, showing up. Perfection leads to paralysis. You'll delay starting. You'll fear judgment. You'll waste years stuck in your head. Quit chasing flawless. Chase real. Chase better. Be proud of your scars. They're proof that you're alive and evolving. Be like the Stoics. Pursue excellence, not illusion. Life happens. People betray you. Plans collapse. Health fades. The world is unfair. And yet, we resist. We argue. We say, it shouldn't be this way. That phrase, it shouldn't be this way, is the root of most human suffering. The Stoics knew this. They taught amor fati, the love of fate. You don't have to like what happens, but if it's outside your control, you must accept it or be broken by it. Epictetus taught, don't demand that things happen as you wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. Reality doesn't bend to your desires, but you can bend your attitude to reality. Acceptance is not weakness, it's power. When you accept reality as it is, you stop wasting energy on resistance and start using it for action. Quit fighting life, start flowing with it. That's how you gain your power back. Quit overthinking everything. Thinking is a gift. Overthinking is a curse. Most people don't suffer from reality. They suffer from their imagination. They replay the past, worry about the future, and invent 1,000 scenarios that never actually happen. The Stoics were thinkers, yes, but they were also doers. They believed that action, not analysis, builds character and peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you're distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any moment. Overthinking is fear trying to control the future. But you can't think your way into peace. You have to act your way into it. Every time you delay a decision, hesitate on your goals, or try to calculate every possible outcome, you're telling your brain, I don't trust myself. A Stoic silences the storm by focusing on what must be done. They simplify, they act, they move forward. Quit spiraling in your head, take the next small step, trust the process. The mind quiets down when the body moves. Quit pleasing everyone. People pleasing is just manipulation in a friendly mask. You're not being nice by betraying your values, avoiding honesty, or bending to everyone's expectations. You're just avoiding rejection. The Stoics were not cruel, but they were clear. They knew you cannot live a good life if you're constantly trying to be liked. Seneca said, if you live according to nature, you will never be poor. If you live according to opinion, you will never be rich. Pleasing everyone is exhausting, and it's impossible. No matter what you do, someone will disapprove. So live according to principle, not popularity. Be kind, but not a doormat. Be helpful, but not self-abandoning. Speak truth, even if your voice shakes. The moment you quit needing approval is the moment you become free. Quit comparing yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy and the enemy of virtue. The Stoics taught that the only true competition is with yourself. Comparing your journey, success, or identity to others makes you forget your path, your duty, your unique strengths. Marcus Aurelius said, it never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. That's the madness of comparison. You measure your worth by someone else's illusion. Social media makes this worse. You're not comparing yourself to real people. You're comparing yourself to carefully curated highlights. A Stoic doesn't envy. They admire if someone is great, they're inspired, but they never feel less because someone else shines. Quit scrolling through other people's lives like you don't have your own. Focus on your lane. Measure backward. Are you better than you were yesterday? That's the only comparison that matters. Quit reacting emotionally to everything. Emotion is not your enemy, but emotional reactivity is. The Stoic path is not about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally disciplined. When something happens, a Stoic pauses, breathes, reflects, responds. They do not lash out. They do not spiral. They do not say things they later regret. They own their mind. Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you explode in anger, collapse in panic, or drown in sadness, you give your power away. You become a puppet of emotion. That doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you hold them like a wise observer, not a helpless victim. Let your emotions inform you, but not control you. Quit being a slave to reaction. Master your response. That's Stoic strength. Quit escaping into addictions. Most people don't live. They escape. They run from silence, from discomfort, from reality, and they run into distraction, into screens, into sex, into food, into alcohol, into the shallow thrill of temporary relief. Addiction doesn't always look dangerous. Sometimes it looks like binge watching a series you've already seen, or scrolling TikTok until 2 a.m., or needing your vape just to think clearly. But Stoicism demands we face life, not escape it. Epictetus warned, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's the real danger, not the addiction itself, but what it does to your will. It makes you a slave, a puppet pulled by the strings of habit and emotion. A Stoic doesn't numb out. A Stoic feels fully, lives consciously, and says, "This moment is mine. I do not run from it." It's not about never feeling pleasure. It's about never needing it, never depending on it. Because the only real high is mastery of self. You don't break free from addiction by fighting the urges forever. You break free by becoming someone who doesn't need the escape anymore. Face life. Don't flee from it. That's where peace begins. Quit living without purpose. Many people drift through life like ships without a rudder, pulled by tides, tossed by winds, going everywhere and nowhere. They wake up, go to work, scroll, eat, sleep, and then repeat. No vision, no fire, no reason. A Stoic doesn't live like that. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I am rising to do the work of a human being.'" What is the work of a human being? To contribute, to build, to serve, to grow. Life without purpose is suffering without meaning, but life with purpose. Even pain becomes fuel. Don't wait for the perfect goal. Just pick a direction that demands your growth. Wake up with intention. Go to bed proud. The Stoic doesn't need applause or results to feel fulfilled. They just need a reason, and they give themselves one. Quit being a victim. Life is hard. Bad things happen. People betray you. You get rejected. You fall short. That's true for everyone, but not everyone turns pain into identity. The moment you say, "I can't," because you've already lost. The victim mindset is seductive. It gives you permission to stop trying, but it also steals your power. The Stoics refuse to be victims. Epictetus was literally a slave. He still said, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus can get the better of my will." That's the difference. You don't control what happens to you, but you always control how you respond. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your excuses. You are your choices. So choose power. Choose responsibility. Choose the Stoic way. Quit letting fear dictate your decisions. Fear is useful, but it is not your king. If every decision you make is shaped by "what if," you'll never live. You'll only survive. The Stoics didn't pretend fear didn't exist. They acknowledged it, and then moved anyway. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And he was right. The fear in your head is often far worse than the thing itself. Fear says, "What if I fail?" Stoicism says, "Then you'll learn." Fear says, "What if they reject me?" Stoicism says, "Then you'll grow stronger." Fear says, "What if I lose everything?" Stoicism says, "You never owned anything to begin with." Let fear speak, but never let it lead. Act with courage. That's what makes you free. Quit being passive. The world doesn't owe you anything, and life doesn't reward the passive, yet many live waiting for motivation, permission, the right time. That's not patience, that's avoidance. The Stoics were people of action. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Action is clarity, action is power, action is peace. You don't get results by wishing. You get them by moving. No one is coming to save you. That's your job. If you want respect, build it. If you want love, give it. If you want change, create it. Quit waiting. Start becoming. Quit lying to yourself. The easiest person to deceive is the one in the mirror. You lie to yourself when you say you're fine, but you're falling apart. When you say you're trying, but you haven't moved. When you say next week for the 10th time. The Stoics valued truth above comfort, even painful truth. Epictetus taught it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. That's the tragedy of self-deception. You block growth with illusion. A Stoic faces reality. They admit their flaws. They speak truth internally before they ever speak it externally. Your self-respect is built every time you stop lying and start living honestly. Quit chasing happiness. The more you chase happiness, the more it runs. Because happiness is not a place you reach. It's a byproduct of living in alignment with your values. The Stoics never said happiness was the goal. They aimed for virtue, for character, for strength, for reason. And from that, a deeper happiness emerged. Peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Chasing happiness makes you fragile. Building character makes you unshakable. So don't chase dopamine. Don't pursue comfort, pursue virtue. Happiness will follow like a shadow. Quit speaking without substance. Most people talk too much and say too little. Words fly from their mouths like leaves in a storm. They speak before they think. They react before they reflect. They chase approval with empty noise. But the Stoic doesn't speak for validation. He speaks for clarity, for truth, for value." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Words are powerful, but only when grounded in purpose. Loose talk creates loose minds, and loose minds don't build strong lives. Before you speak, ask, is it necessary? Is it true? Is it useful? A Stoic doesn't fear silence. He respects it because silence is where strength gathers and where wisdom begins. Speak less, mean more. Quit living like you have time. You think you have time, you don't. That's the most dangerous illusion later. Later you'll chase your dreams, later you'll apologize, later you'll change, later you'll start. But there's no promise of later. There is only now. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." You don't need more years, you need more awareness. To feel the ticking clock behind each moment. To act as if your life depends on this very breath, because it does. Memento mori, remember death, not to fear it, but to live better because of it. Quit delaying your purpose. Quit gambling with time, because the Stoic knows every moment wasted is a moment you'll never get back. Quit begging for love. Love cannot be forced. Respect cannot be begged. And yet many chase people who barely tolerate them, offering their time, their energy, their hearts, hoping to be enough. But the Stoic knows, if you must beg for it, it's not love, it's dependency. Epictetus said, "If someone does not wish to be with you, let them go." A Stoic values himself first. He loves deeply but never desperately. He gives, but never at the cost of his dignity. Love should elevate you, not enslave you. Quit begging. Stand tall. What's meant for you will stay without being chased. Quit letting your past define you. Your past happened. It shaped you, but it does not own you. Too many people live as prisoners of their former selves, regretting, replaying, reliving, but the Stoics believed in the power of now and the power of reason to rise above memory. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let the past teach you, not trap you. You are not who you were. You are who you choose to be today. Quit letting external chaos control your inner peace." The world is loud. People argue, markets crash, friends disappoint, phones buzz, but a Stoic builds an inner citadel, a fortress of calm that no storm can breach. Epictetus wrote, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. You cannot control the world, but you can control your reaction. Let the chaos rage outside, inside remain still." Quit being addicted to outcomes. We've been taught to obsess over results. Did you win? Did you get rich? Did they love you back? But Stoicism teaches us to love the process, to focus on what we can control and release what we can't. The Stoics said, "Do your job, then let it go. Detach from results. Attach to effort. Don't ask, did it work? Ask, did I do my best?" That's the only metric that matters. Quit thinking you're always right. Ego blinds you. Humility frees you. A Stoic doesn't seek to be right. He seeks to see clearly. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that he could be wrong and that truth mattered more than pride. When you're too proud to admit mistakes, you stop growing. You defend the illusion, not the truth. Let go of needing to be right. Learn, adapt, elevate. Quit neglecting your body. You cannot master your mind while abusing your body. The Stoics were not soft. They trained, fasted, walked, lifted, endured cold and heat. They treated the body as a temple and a weapon. Seneca wrote, "A sound mind in a sound body. Sleep well, eat real food, move often, suffer well. You don't need to look like a god, but you should move like a man. Quit being passive, train your body, sharpen your edge. Quit living without reflection." The unexamined life is not just unwise, it's wasteful. Each day, the Stoics wrote in journals. They asked, "What did I do well? What did I fail at? What can I do better?" Marcus Aurelius' Meditations was just a personal journal, but it shaped the minds of millions. Without reflection, you repeat mistakes. With reflection, you become better daily. Take time to sit with yourself, ask hard questions, write real answers. That's how transformation begins. Quit running from pain. Pain is not your enemy, it's your teacher. When you run from it, it controls you. When you face it, it shapes you. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort, fasting, cold exposure, minimalism, not for cruelty but for strength. Seneca said, "It is in times of hardship that the soul is strengthened. Pain shows you where you're weak. It reveals what matters. It carves you into someone deeper. Don't numb it. Don't flee it. Face it. Learn. Rise. Quit pretending you don't know what to do. You do know. Most people aren't confused. They're avoiding responsibility. They say, I don't know what I want. What they mean is, I'm afraid to want it." The Stoic doesn't play dumb with his soul. He knows when he's lying, he knows what he's avoiding, and he knows it's time to act. Deep down, you already know your next move. You just haven't given yourself permission. Quit pretending, you know? Now go. Quit abandoning yourself to please others. Every time you say yes when you mean no. Every time you shrink to make others comfortable. Every time you betray your own voice to earn approval, you abandon yourself. And the cost? Your peace, your power, your truth. The Stoics never traded their soul for applause. Marcus Aurelius didn't write Meditations for an audience. He wrote it to keep his soul intact. If you are always trying to be what others want, you'll never become who you're meant to be. So stop performing, stop shape-shifting, stop pleasing everyone else while silencing yourself. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Why? Because real growth often looks like rebellion. You are not for everyone, and that's your freedom. Don't abandon yourself. Stand by yourself. That's the Stoic way. Quit needing closure. Not every story ends with an explanation. Not every person will apologize. Not every chapter wraps up cleanly. Stop chasing closure. The Stoics didn't wait for people to make it right. They focused on their own response, their own discipline, their own peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." You don't need closure. You need clarity about who you are and who you will not become in response to pain. Let go. Let people be who they are. You are free the moment you stop needing anything from them. Quit living at war with reality. Wishing the world was different doesn't make it so. You wish people were kinder. You wish life was fair. You wish your past was cleaner. But Stoicism teaches us reality is not the enemy. Your resistance is. Epictetus said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgment of them. When you argue with what is, you suffer. When you accept it, not passively but clearly, you gain power. Face reality head on. That's where your strength begins. Quit seeking revenge. Someone wronged you, lied, left, betrayed, and you want them to hurt like you hurt. But revenge doesn't free you. It chains you to the very thing that wounded you." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Don't become what you hate. Don't match their energy. Rise above it. The Stoic doesn't get even. He gets free. Let it go and walk away with your dignity intact. Quit avoiding stillness. In every quiet moment, a truth waits to be heard, but you fill the silence with noise, music, shows, texts, dopamine. Stillness feels scary because it reveals what's been ignored. Marcus Aurelius found truth in stillness. So did Seneca. They knew the mind clears only when the world quiets. Sit with your thoughts, listen to your breath, watch your urges. That's where mastery begins. Stop running, be still, face yourself. Quit expecting fairness. You think the world owes you something. It doesn't. Good people suffer, bad people succeed. Life breaks the rules you were taught. The Stoic doesn't cry, "It's not fair." He asks, "What will I do now?" Seneca wrote, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. You are not here for fairness. You are here to become. And unfairness is your training ground. Learn from it. Rise in it. Become stronger because of it. Quit distrusting your inner voice. Everyone has an opinion, but not everyone has wisdom. You drown in voices telling you what to do, who to be, what's best for you. But deep down, you know what's fake. You know what's wrong. You know what you've been avoiding. Epictetus said, know first who you are, then adorn yourself accordingly. Trust yourself. Not the fear, not the noise, but the quiet, solid voice inside. That's your compass. Follow it. Quit apologizing for your standards. Your standards are not too high. Your boundaries are not rude. Your expectations are not unrealistic. They're yours. And they are how you protect your peace, your time, your growth. The Stoics didn't bow to public opinion. They stood by their principles, even when mocked, rejected, or alone. Stop explaining your discipline. Stop shrinking your needs. You don't owe anyone comfort at your expense. Live your truth unapologetically. Quit dying before you're dead. You're alive. But are you living? You exist, you function, but your eyes are tired, your dreams are dusty, your spirit is on autopilot. That's not living, that's slow death. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." So, start the thing you keep delaying. Say the words you've been afraid to speak. Cut what's draining you. Go where your soul stirs. Wake up. Breathe in this moment. It's your life. It's happening now. Don't waste it sleepwalking. Live like a Stoic, with full presence, fierce intention, and absolute courage. Final reflection. Every line was a mirror. Every truth was a challenge. So now it's your move. Start quitting. Quit the noise, quit the weakness, quit the comfort, quit the illusion, and replace it with strength, with purpose, with self-respect, with peace. The world doesn't need another person who conforms. It needs someone who chooses to be free. You, let the quitting begin.